And I made an.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So good morning again. I like to start our meeting. Leadership. Welcome to Leadership Speak. And the mission of a Toastmaster Club is to provide mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop organization and leadership, communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. And please mute yourself unless you are speaking and turn off your unnecessary devices so we don't have disruption. And our Toastmaster today is Brahm. He has been a member of Toastmasters since 2001. He has held all of the roles in club executives, been an area governor and division governor, and has been achieved the Distinguished Toastmaster designation twice. So please welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Brahm.
Thank you, Mariana. I appreciate the introduction. I put as the theme, if you went into Easy Speak, you would see it still as hot summer nights. And Brahm encouraged me to expand it because this is Leadership Speak and we're about leadership. But I was thinking about leadership when I said hot summer nights because the other night I was sitting in my office and it was hot here a couple of nights ago. Not as hot as it is in Spain right now, but hot for Canada anyway. And I was thinking, maybe I'll put off preparing for the meeting because it's just too hot to work. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. And I realized the reason I was not willing to do that is because leaders don't let conditions deter them from preparing. And that's something that I think it's important for us to pay attention to, that we are learning to be more effective leaders in this particular club of Toastmasters, Leadership Speak. Now, all clubs do that. All Toastmasters clubs have a leadership element to everything they do. But we've focused on it. And I think it's important for us to realize that hot summer nights, it's just another summer night. It's time to lead. And that's why I chose the theme of the day. Okay, let's get started with our meeting. And I'm going to ask that Mary Lou Ahsan introduce our meeting or kick off our meeting with a toast today. Mary Lou.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Our theme today, as Bud said, is leaders enjoying hot summer nights. Yes, summer is here, and the weather has been a roller coaster. Cool, wet, hot, sometimes blustery, with random thunderstorms. It has not been our traditional weather pattern. Across the world, it looks like Mother Nature is either confused or not very happy. So what does enjoying hot summer nights have to do with us as leaders needing to learn, reflect, and reinvent? Summer is a time of year we look forward to. It's a time to kick back, slow down, and enjoy living. Most of us are constantly go, go, go. For many, a badge of honor is how busy we are. Many constantly are busy because we have not taken the time to look at how and why we do things. To improve our lives, we need to slow down. Hot summer nights provide us with the opportunity to slow down and reflect on what's happening around us. It is impossible to perform, recover, and grow without adequate sleep. Our bodies at time of rest use that time to regenerate. Moments of learning take place when we are at the time to reflect, look at the situation, examine what and why is occurring, and then plan a course of action to adjust the results. Let's slow down to make time to grow by reflecting on what we've learned. Reflection is looking back so that we can view looking forward much clearer. Let's take our glasses, cups, and toast to growing through reflection.
To
Growing
grow through
Growing through
reflection.
reflection. Cheers.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
And thank you, Mary Lou. Okay, next we move on to some of the structure that we have in Toastmasters that help us improve our grammar and our use of the English language. And to handle that and to tell us about his role, can you help me welcome Brent Pattison?
Thanks, Bud. As our grammarian, I'm going to be, of course, looking for some really cool, unique uses of the English language throughout our meeting. But I also wanted to introduce you to the word of the day. And I tried to pick a word that is used as a descriptor for a positive leadership style, but also fit with our theme of hot summer nights. And as a result, I went with the word passionate. That is showing or caused by strong feelings or a strong belief. And I'd like to think that all of the people that are here are passionate about leadership development. And that's really what the purpose of this club is, and hence why we're all here. So if we could look for opportunities to use the word passionate throughout the course of the meeting, and hopefully fittingly within that same also theme of leadership development, passionate towards our own desire to become more effective leaders. And on that note, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Bud. Bud.
Thank you, Brent. I'm just looking. Is Jerry Tullio here?
Yes, she is here.
Okay. I didn't see her on the list. So, oh, there you are. Okay. Jerry, Jerry is our timer for today. And I'm going to ask Jerry if you would mind taking a minute to tell us a little about the timer's role and maybe demonstrate how you'll be showing green, yellow, and red.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, Bud Brahm, fellow Toastmasters. My name's Jerry Tullio. I'm from actually Honeymoon City and Beansville Toastmasters. Today I'll be your timer, and as timer I'm going to be monitoring or timing the table topics and the speeches as well as the evaluation. And I don't have the agenda, but I am assuming that the table topics 1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, you will see, I'm just going to pull it up. You will see the green background. At 1.5 minutes, you will see the amber background. And at 2 minutes, you will see the red background. And again, for the speeches, can you help me how long the speeches are? Because I don't have an agenda in front of me.
I will give you the times for each speech as we come to them.
Okay. Okay. So I will.
Also, I think I'm not sure of it, but I think we've posted the link just now in the chat to the agenda. So you can possibly come up with that as well.
And so I based on whatever comes about, if it's 5 to 7 minutes, 5 minutes green, 6 minutes would be amber, and the 7 minutes would be red.
Perfect.
And I would do the, pardon? Oh, and at the evaluations, it's 1 to 3 minutes. So 1 minute green, 2 minutes amber, and oh, I'm not following right there. Amber and red would be the 3 minute mark. And that's and I will report at the end of the meeting as to the results. Back
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jerry. All right, let's get this show on the road, as they say. The first speech is from our incoming president, Brahm Memone. And Brahm is speaking from the Innovative Planning Pathway, the project called Public Relations Strategies. And since I am Brahm's evaluator as well as being the Toastmaster, I will tell you that Brahm's project today is to present a speech on how he will or might apply what he's learned by creating a public relations plan or for a real or hypothetical group or situation. The speech is not to be a report on the content of his public relations project. So help me welcome Brahm Memone, Global Leadership Impact Summit. Global Leadership Impact. I apologize. Before I go any further, Jerry, the speech is for 5, 6, and 7 minutes. Five for green, 6 for amber, and 7 for red. So, Global Leadership Impact Summit, Brahm Memone.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Do you know that I'm very passionate about Toastmasters? And do you know why? Well, I'll tell you why if you don't know why I'm passionate about Toastmasters. Guess what? It provides communication and leadership skills to people so that they can find their voice and hopefully they will change the world. So I've been in Toastmasters for 26 years. As most of you know, I created this project called Global Leadership Impact Summit. Why did I create that project? Well, after 26 years, if I don't do something bigger and bigger and reinvent myself every few years, I would get bored. So, to keep up from getting bored, I reinvent myself every few years. And so this is just a reinvention of my next level of doing things. And so this project was born for my third DTM in Pathways. That's right, third. Now, why third? Well, why not? So that we can reach more people, serve more people. Exactly, Tony, why not, right? So 1,000 Toastmasters in one meeting, created by a club at the club level, not at the area, division, district level, at the club level. And that is a humongous project for us at Leadership Speak. Now, of course, we need a public relations strategy, right? To reach 1,000 people. That's humongous, let alone, reaching 1 or 2 guests. This is 1,000 people. So here it is. My social media strategy and my PR strategy is I created a Facebook page and I created a Facebook group. And there's also a website called globalleadershipimpactsummit.com. To have 1,000 people, you need to have such a structure of reaching out to people and getting them enough information. If people go on globalleadershipimpactsummit.com, they will find all the information about the event and who's speaking and what's happening there. And of course, the promo videos and a little bit about explanation about myself as to why I created this project, which is exactly what I just said a couple of minutes ago. It is very important to have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. The Facebook page actually gets on to Google search as well, very much more easier than a group will. And a group tends to sort of stick around in Facebook, and it's for people to interact with each other. On Facebook page, people can leave messages, but they're not as visible, and then they're not as interactive as they are in a group. And for the group, therefore, we created a group so that people who join the project and want to come on July the 23rd can interact with each other. And there will be contests in there and things like that, which I will address in a second. The second strategy is we have an ambassador program because we need to reach 1,000 people. And if you want to reach 1,000 people, you need to have an ambassador program where people who are passionate about Toastmasters and want to be part of making history. This is right. If you haven't grasped it yet, we are creating history with this project. And so you will be part of that history. And what we've done is we've created this ambassador program where if you sign up actually on the website, there's a link and you sign up for it, you will be sent some information by our ambassador program head, who is Mariana. And she will send you all the information and all the graphics and videos and so on that you can use to promote. If you are able to reach a lot of people, well, guess what? We will draw a name for those of the top ambassadors, and they will be able to speak to 1,000 people at the event on July 23rd. Secondly, we are also asking for nominations for our Toastmaster who demonstrated remarkable dedication, enthusiasm, and caring for other Toastmaster members and uplifted them, especially over the past couple of years during the pandemic. And such nominated candidate will go to a special committee who will then decide who to award a recognition at this recognition ceremony on July the 23rd. It's going to be an amazing event when somebody's drawn, like it'll be like an Oscar award ceremony, and people will be drawn from, and the winner is, and they will do a 3 to 4 minute speech based on social speeches. So that's another way of promoting the event. Next, and this is the best, and I really love this one that we are doing currently, is the 15-second video contest. We are asking every person who wants to come if they would like to produce a 15-second video saying, hi, for example, hi, I'm Tony. I'm the past district governor of District 86, and I will be at the Global Impact Leadership Summit. I look forward to seeing you there. Simple, 15 seconds. And then you will post it on social media with the hashtag GLIS 2022. So a committee will be able to find your post, and you will be put into a draw, and you will be able to speak at the summit as well. Now, the committee who will look after that will be committee from Leadership Speak. So Leadership Speak members step forward and be part of that committee. So that's another PR strategy that we are using. So that's the 15-second video winner committee that we are looking for in Leadership Speak. This is a historical moment, ladies and gentlemen. We have to all get involved. It is the Leadership Speak project. Sure, it's my DTM project, but it really is a Leadership Speak project, because Leadership Speak will get on the map of this is a club that's doing things and going places. Because as you know, that was the promise: leadership development, self-directed leaders when you became charter members, most of you here. And that is the promise that we will keep, and we will keep going forward. And I will leave you with this historical video. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tony. Excellent presentation. And I'm going to ask our timer to give us 1 minute so that those of us who would like to give Tony some feedback can make some notes and jot them down.
Tony, you're going to get feedback.
Sorry, not Tony. My bad.
Oh, no. My best speech ever. Oh, I love it.
I'll get to Tony. Be patient, Tony. Brahm. So take some notes and send them off to Brahm and help him to improve his presentation even more. Okay. Now we can move on to the next. I have to tell you, as a Toastmaster in this club, waiting for that 1 minute to be over without distracting people with my chatter is the hardest part of the whole job. Okay, our next speaker is Luz Sanchez. Luz is speaking from Presentation Mastery, Project 3, the first, or Level 3, the first project, Persuasive Speaking. And I'm going to ask Luz's evaluator, who is Juvelis, to tell us a little bit about the objectives of Luz's speech. Juvelis.
Today I have the honor to introduce you to Luz Sanchez. She will be presenting a 5 to 7 minute speech about the Persuasive Speaking project from the Path Presentation Mastery. Luz is passionate about working on her vocal variety, grabbing attention from her audience and finishing strong. The title of her speech is The 7 Pillars, and I am looking forward to see her performing her speech. Mr. Toastmasters.
Thank you very much, Joelis. Help me welcoming Luz Sanchez, the 7 pillars, Luz Sanchez.
Fellow Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most honored guests. Today I'm going to talk about the 7 pillars. What are the 7 pillars? Spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, relationships, nutritional, and financial. I'm just going to give a brief introduction of these pillars because, as you can see, all of these pillars are a very strong area of our lives that we have to work on, right? And I didn't know the 7 pillars before. When I started learning about the 7 pillars is when I realized that what areas of my life I had to work on. And sometimes growing up, we are not taught what areas or we're not specifically know in have the awareness that we have to work in all areas of our life. If not, we are going in life like we have a flat tire, right? And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. And I grew up in Mexico City. My mom was a person that was always working and didn't really have time to take care of us. I'm the oldest of 5 children, and I was the one who was always taking care of my siblings. When I was in Mexico, I work alongside with my mom and my siblings because we were living in poverty. So it was difficult for all of us to learn, right, about more things. Everything that I learned on my own, and I had to be the role model that I didn't have. I grew up in a family where I have a father, but my father was absent and unemotionally unavailable. Actually, we live in domestic abuse. So that prompted me to search more about life. My uncles were machistas, and I had an uncle that used to tell my mom, why do you let her go to school? She's gonna get married and have children. So right there, I knew that was a status quo that people wanted me to subject, right? And even though I live in an oppressive environment, I always was observant. I always was curious. I always look for clues. And I didn't really think about like, oh, this is a hard job, no, anything like that. I feel now that was my training for life. That was my training to make myself stronger. That was my training to become a better person and the best that I could be. When I learned about the relationships pillar, which is right when we grow up in a dysfunctional family, we are not taught how to choose the right people in our lives. Because there is a toxic environment, we tend to look for everything that is toxic looks familiar to us. So for me, I could not distinguish between healthy relationships and unhealthy relationships. And that was one of the things that, like, looking back, I see that because of unhealthy relationships, that was that every time that I had a downfall, it was because of unhealthy relationships. Either I trust too much, I've been betrayed, people stole from me, or something like that. But because I only want to see the good on people, I don't want to see the other stuff, right? And I didn't know how to distinguish that. But there's always red flags that I didn't know how to identify. Now I know, because I have studied on this area of my life, right? And I know there is the other areas, right? Spiritual. And I usually think when I wake up, right, when I reflect in my life, I think about these pillars: the spiritual, prayer in the morning, meditation, going in nature. That's healing for us. And also we are connected to the higher source. Mental, learning every single day, analyzing our lives, review what we have learned already. Because if we don't review, then what you don't use it, you lose it. The other thing is reading books, right? Continue to reading books, because sometimes we don't have those mentors that we need. And if you have written a book, you know how much the author is gonna put there, and it really serves for you to learn what you haven't learned, right? And sometimes those mentors, which could be books, are not available for us. So through a book, we can learn. Physical, move every single day, nutrition, sleep, right? I used to neglect my sleep before because I was working so much. I was just this passionate fire, like burning fire within myself, right? This passion that you can feel it, that I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to be better. I'm going to be the best version of myself, not only for me, but for my family and for my community, for society. And because of that, right, I take care of myself too. That's the basis. Taking care of ourselves, that's the basis of everything. If we don't have health, how can we do anything? So if we want to run the marathon of life, we got to take care of this beautiful machine that we have, that God gave us. And I believe in God. So yeah, relationships, and finally, financial, right? Don't spend more than you earn. Save and invest. These are the 7 pillars. Thank you so much. And I really hope that you find in my talk anything that can serve to improve any area of your life. Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Liz. Okay. Can I ask our timer to give us 1 minute to write some notes for Liz? All right. Moving on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Wesley Hillstrom, and he's speaking from Presentation Mastery Level 3, project number 5, which is Connect with Storytelling. I'm going to ask Wesley's evaluator, Francoise Bowen, to give us some idea of what we're looking for with Wesley's speech and what to suggest him for improvements.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster Wesley Hillstrom. The purpose of his project is for the member to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. Let me repeat. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice using a story within the speech or giving a speech that is a story. The name of the title of this project is called Important Elements in Human Endeavor. Important Elements in Human Endeavor. The virtual lecture is hand back over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Francoise. So help me welcoming Wesley Hillstrom. Rules, important elements in human endeavor. Rules, important elements in human endeavor. Wesley Hillstrom.
You're muted.
Wesley, you're muted.
My apologies. Mr. Toastmaster, Phil Toastmaster, yes. In any element of human endeavor, rules are very important. They ensure fairness and respect. From a very early age, my father impressed upon me the importance of following rules. At the last meeting, a very well-presented speech referenced the poem Invictus. When my father was a young man, that poem was his creed. He lived that poem. He was very passionate about that poem. Later on in his life, he became a platoon sergeant. He was a well-respected combat leader and a platoon sergeant in the 96th Infantry Division. You may remember that the 96th Infantry Division was referenced in the movie Hacksaw Ridge. After a particularly intense battlefield engagement, my dad's platoon leader asked him if he would accept a battlefield commission, a promotion to a second lieutenant. My dad said that he would. 4 days before that promotion was to be finalized, one of his sergeants was killed doing the job of an officer who didn't quite have a handle on what he was on his job. That really bothered my father because he remembers that sergeant's father, that sergeant's mother pleading with him at the railroad station before they deployed, pleading with him to please take care of her son. He was killed doing a job that he was not supposed to be doing in the first place. Now, the Army regulations stated that that particular task was to be performed by a commissioned officer. That bothered my dad. And as still a sergeant, he went into the officers' club, found that officer, and strongly reprimanded him for not doing his duty. He commented his speech saying, "I won't take orders from you, they put 4 stars on your shoulder." Well, that's probably not the thing that you want to do in an officers' club. So his platoon leader, his company commander, my dad was very well respected in his platoon. He had won the respect of his company commander, his platoon leader, and every man in his platoon. And his company commander told him that you're probably the best platoon sergeant in this entire platoon, and in fact in this company. But if I let this promotion go through, I could never give another order again as a company commander. So I offered my dad a chance. He said, you can be transferred and graded to another outfit, or you can remain with your with a platoon and be reduced to the rank of private. My dad was a very loyal soldier. He was loyal to the men of his platoon. He said, I train with these men, I'll stay with these men. So he was reduced in rank to a private. Fortunately, within a very short time, maybe 24 hours, a captain called him to his quarters and he said, I need a good man as a recon sergeant. Are you interested? So although Dad lost command of the platoon, he did retain his rank. So that was a good thing. Now the point is, a rule was broken and tragedy ensued. Now, tragedy is a part of war that happens in a war, but the point is, a rule was broken and tragedy ensued. Actually, in retrospect, it was probably a good thing that my father did not get that promotion, because the attrition rate for officers in Okinawa was very high. And had my father was a follow me type leader. Had he had accepted that promotion, he probably would have been killed in his first battlefield engagement as an officer. So I had a father, I had a dad. In fact, the officer that recommended him for the battlefield promotion was severely wounded and taken out of action. In fact, my dad and another soldier carried him off the battlefield. Another example of following rules is in skydiving. In skydiving, for a certain license, one has to make certain 25 landings within 7 feet of a target. Now, it's to the skydiver's best interest not to try to cheat, because the objective of getting that license is not to get a little piece of paper with that license. It's to attain that accuracy level in order to get that license. And every one of those landings improves that accuracy. In skydiving, rules are not made to be broken. So I've offered you some extreme examples on the importance of rules. And in Toastmasters and in other organizations, rules are very important. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Wesley. Madam Timer, can we have 1 minute for people to write some evaluations for Wesley? Thank you. Get you to pass your notes on to Wesley as you are able. Our next speaker is Hannah Schmidt. Hannah is going to be speaking from the Strategic Relationships Project or Pathway Level 4, Project 1, the Public Relations Strategies. And I'm going to ask Hannah's evaluator, Anya Ganjar, to give us the objective of Hannah's speech. Anya.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Bud, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. It's an honor to be here evaluating Hannah because I am certain she is very passionate about Toastmasters, as I am a member of 3 clubs and she regularly visits 2 of them. Hannah's speech is from Strategic Relationships Level 4, Public Relations Strategies, and her speech is on how she will or might apply what was learned by creating a public relations plan for a real or hypothetical group or situation. And Hannah also asked me to be watching or to be listening to how this speech will serve to promote Global Leadership Impact Summit to other clubs. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Anya. Okay, can you help me in welcoming Hannah Schmidt? Sorry. Imagine, connect, create. Imagine, connect, create, Hannah Schmidt.
Mr. Toastmaster of the Day, before we start, I'd just like to have some screen sharing, please. Is that possible?
You can share.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
We can see it.
And before I start, I'd just like to mention, you're talking about a hot summer's night. It's cold winter here, but still I am going to be passionate about my speech I'm going to deliver. Why did we all join Toastmasters? Joining Toastmasters Club is an invaluable opportunity to practice your public speaking skills regularly in a safe and supportive environment. Leadership skills is also part of Toastmasters program. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and friends and visitors from around the globe. Before 2020, most of the clubs had physical meetings. Since March 2020, this has changed, and Toastmasters around the globe now meet online, mostly via Zoom. I would assume, or I have assumed, that this would be the platform to visit Toastmasters meeting around the globe and enjoy this from the comfort of your home. Yet, the Toastmasters dashboard shows a different picture. Sadly, most of the districts and regions have shown a negative growth. Zoom fatigue could also have a share in members not attending. And here is where Leadership Speak comes into the picture. Leadership Speak is a newly chartered Toastmasters Club from Toronto, Canada, and has hooked up with this brilliant idea. And the project is called Global Leadership Impact Summit 2022. And the theme is Imagine, Connect, Create. What an awesome experience it will be to connect with 1,000 Toastmasters from around the globe. Yes, you heard me correctly, 1,000 Toastmasters, and create that positive impact in the world. 1,000 Toastmasters on one virtual platform? What a spectacular, stunning, sensational, and superb moment this will be. If this all happens on Saturday, the 23rd of July at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, when Leadership Speak Toastmasters will be hosting this awesome event. You need not pay for your air tickets, no long queues, waiting queues at the airport, no need to pay for accommodation. or a visa where it's needed, just sit and relax in front of your laptop, computer, or even smartphone with your favorite cuppa or your glass of vino and meet 3 past international presidents: Mohammed Murad, Jim Konkowski, and Deepak Menon. We shall meet them in a leadership panel session. And on top of it, 3 world championships of public speaking: Mark Brown, Lance Miller, and from Africa, Verity Price. This is the vision of TTM Brahm Memone, co-founder of Leadership Speak Toastmasters and project founder of this amazing event. Brahm is a Toastmaster for 26 years, has attained 2 TTMs. He was awarded club coach for the year 2020, and he is the chief architect behind Leadership Toastmasters, from launch to charter in 1 week. Under his presidency, My Speak Toastmasters, the club has grown from 2 members to 58 members in 1 year. And that club was ranked number 4 in the world globally in the year 2020-2021. Brahm has also served as club director for District 86 in the year 2021-2022. His vision: global community of leaders making a positive impact in the world and in Toastmasters. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in this amazing event and be part of a record-breaking event challenge. See you all on Saturday, 23rd of July, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, to imagine how your home club will grow again, to connect with your ex-members, and to create a club it was before 2020. Please register to attend. Here is the link. Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Hannah. Madam Timer, can we have 1 minute on the clock for people to give Hannah some feedback? Okay, thank you very much. Our next speaker is Tony Bratschitsch. Tony will be speaking from the Dynamic Leadership Pathway, Level 3, the 11th project, Inspire Your Audience. And I'm going to ask Tony's evaluator, Mary Lou Ahsan, to give us some insight as to what Tony's project requires.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. As mentioned, Tony will be presenting an elective project, Inspire Your Audience, from a level 3 of the Dynamic Leadership Pathway. The purpose of the project is for Tony to practice working and delivering a speech that inspires others, including the audience. Tony's speech, A Global Event Fit for Our Imagination, is coming up. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Tony communicated to me before the meeting began today that there are a lot of Toastmasters clubs that are struggling through the pandemic. Across the globe, membership is down, and some clubs have closed. Now, more and more members are also worried about inflation and making ends meet. But yet, there are some excellent things happening in the Toastmasters world that exemplifies that the human spirit is insurmountable and can overcome challenges. Tony will speak about some successes that he has witnessed. Can you help me welcoming Tony Bratschitsch, a global event fit for our imagination, a global event fit for our imagination, Tony Bratschitsch.
Good morning, everyone. Hannah Schmidt just gave my speech. A wonderful speech, Hannah. Have you ever, fellow Toastmasters, you ever been in that position where you've prepared a speech and someone ahead of you have given something very similar, almost identical to your speech? This is probably the first time or second time. I see, Bud, you're nodding your head. For me in 15 years, but I gotta say, Hannah gave a better version of my speech. So I'm not going to repeat what she said. Now I'm gonna be inspired. Because obviously I'm not, there's a number of us on the same page and we're pushing for the same thing. So on the fly, I'm going to be modifying my speech to enhance Hannah's wonderful speech. This is why we're Toastmasters. This is what we do. And I gave the type of speech Hannah gave to my home club 2 weeks ago to encourage him to register. And I respectfully invite everyone to do the same thing that Hannah just did and what I have done and what others are doing about this very special event. Now, by the way, you probably noticed that Brahm and I were joking about the word, why not? If you look at my first name, Tony, and you spell it backwards, it is, why not? And Bud, you've heard this. This has been a running joke for a while, and really, it's not a bad philosophy. Why not? Now, as we heard from Brahm and from Hannah, there's something really good going on. You can see right behind me. And if you heard about it already on July the 23rd. Every person in this meeting lives in a different place and has a different background. And of course, we likely join Toastmasters for one common reason: to improve ourselves. I'm now going to tell you why I think this event will help me improve myself, which is why it's going to be worth it for me to attend. And maybe you'll consider the same. Well, as we just heard, the last 5 years, we've had some big changes in our world of Toastmasters. Pathways was a very big thing. It modernized our educational content. A lot of people like Pathways. I had difficulties at first because I've had a lot of years with the old legacy program, but I got into it. Like you, I accepted the challenge, and I think I prospered from it. I think Pathways has helped me. For example, in my leadership path, dynamic leadership, I really, really like the negotiations project. There's 5 concepts of negotiation. Wow! There it is, articulated clearly. And I got to practice. And I've been doing that kind of stuff for years. Now it's nice to see how it's all concisely categorized. And there's ideas. Oh, I love it. And other projects, that work the same way. 5 concepts of negotiation. Wow. Now, as we know, a lot of Toastmasters did not like pathways and they left. And most of us know many people who did such. Then, of course, as we know, the pandemic struck and nobody liked the pandemic. It also mandated changes. And like many, we accepted those challenges. And again, we prospered. For example, I probably use Zoom 10 times a week for business and for Toastmasters. Probably at least 10 times a week. So many times I don't remember. It's become now a reflex. But I know a club that would not consider making changes and using Zoom, and they closed. Rose City Toastmasters in Welland, Ontario, for example. I already knew that club well, but they're gone. And some of us in this room know that club. And as Hannah said, global membership is down. It's going to be down 20% this year. But it's not surprising and it's not shocking. Because the human spirit is indomitable. There's lots of people with imagination and they put their vision to work. And Hannah talked about My Speak Toastmasters and how it became the 4th leading club in the world in its first year. And in District 86, it won the club Best Club of the Year award in its first year with 50. And it did it again this year in its second year. So there's something good working. And that came from the same type of imagination that led to Leadership Speak being chartered within 1 week. Again, as we all know, because we are Leadership Speak. What's different? Well, here, there's probably members from 15 countries in this club. And we got different ideas and we put them to use together. Success begets success. Like you, I've got many things going on in my life. Besides Toastmasters, I'm a business consultant. I'm my family's primary caregiver, 2 disabled people. I'm an executive with the Royal Canadian Legion, which is an organization that services veterans and their families. I'm chair of their youth education program. And as Peter and I talked about in the past, I'm studying for my law degree. Peter's wondering why, and I'm saying, why not? So I'm grateful for having a good life. Like you, I have things to do and to follow my own vision. So as Brahm has said, and as Hannah has said, and as I humbly invite you, if you have not registered, do so now and make presentations to your clubs. Saturday, July 23rd, the Global Leadership Impact Summit, a day to imagine, to inspire, and to aspire. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Tony. Once again, I'll ask our timer to give us 1 minute on the clock.
1 minute, counting down.
Apparently, I just asked my Apple Watch the same question. Thank you very much, Madam Timer. And while I have your attention, I'll ask our timer for today, Jerry, to give us the times for the speeches we just heard.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Speeches today, Brahm was 5 to 7 minutes. Oh, it was a speech for 5 to 7 minutes and it was 7:01. Luz Sanchez, 7:19. Wesley Hillstrom, I think I missed writing it down. He was within the time frame. I'm sorry. I think it.
That's okay.
Okay.
We all make mistakes.
Hannah Schmidt, 5 minutes and 59 seconds. Tony Bratschitsch, 6 minutes and, oh no, yes, he was 7 minutes and 38 seconds.
Oh,
No.
Yes.
Well, considering Tony's speech was impromptu, I think that's actually pretty good.
oh, thank you, bud. I love you.
Very, very difficult to stay within a time frame when you're making it up on the fly. Okay, I think we've reached a stage where we have time to take a 5-minute break.
Mr. Toastmaster, could you
Yes,
have
Rob.
the poll?
Ah,
speak
yes.
first?
Can you create or present the poll for people to vote for who they thought did the best job meeting the objectives of their speech? You notice I'm not asking for who gave the best speech.
Mariana?
Are you creating that, Mariana? Oh, there we go. Fantastic. So please vote for who you felt did the best job achieving their objectives for their speech. And submit that. And then we'll announce the winner after the break. We'll take a 5-minute break right now. I'll get our timer to start timing now. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Hannah, wonderful speech. Oh, beautiful. Well done. I could not do any better, so I didn't try.
Not to bet yourself, Tony, especially doing it on the fly.
I good pointers that were presented to me early. I just followed up. But that happens in life, so
Yep.
We live with these challenges.
That's right. As you said, we're Toastmasters. We can do things on the fly, right?
Yeah, why not?
Why not, Tony?
Yeah, I'll lay off that. That's enough. I promise I'll stop.
I like it. No worries.
Yeah.
If I may request, in the next, when we commence again, we have table topics. And if you at this point are interested in being a speaker for the table topics, please do let me know. I will write into the chat as well. I'm looking for about 5 to 7 volunteers. Thank you. Ideally before the break is over.
Well, I tell you what, could you tell us the questions now so we can decide? I'm only kidding. I
will only laugh at your joke.
I know you want people who haven't spoken yet, so I know.
You could speak.
Well, if you're short, running out of time, I'm getting used to impromptu today, so I'll go for it, but only as a backup. All right. Hey, someone said it's hot in Spain. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's me. It's so hot.
How hot is it? Yeah, I could not avoid asking that question.
Hotter than me.
Oh, I won't go there.
Sorry, that was a sexy joke.
Oh, I know, it's fine. So
I don't know. At the moment it is
40.
Inland, yes.
40 inland, eh?
I'll tell you in a second.
Is
28 degrees Celsius.
28?
Mm,
That's not
yeah.
bad. That's not.
No, it's so humid though.
Oh yeah.
And it's here, I think inland. Let's see.
Remember in India?
In Madrid, it's 37 degrees
Oh,
Celsius.
geez. Hey, Nikita, is excuse me for my ignorance, but is air conditioning a common amenity in homes throughout Spain?
I don't know. I haven't been in many different homes, but give me a second and I'll respond to you in a second.
Okay. I used to live in Atlanta, Georgia. It was hot.
I was talking to a business associate in Texas. Oh, this is about 5 years ago, but they were going through a heat wave. It was supposed to be 40 degrees outside in Texas. And I asked him how he was surviving it. He said, well, I get up in my air-conditioned condo and I go down to my air-conditioned garage and get into my air-conditioned car, drive to the air-conditioned garage at my office and go into my air-conditioned office. He says, I don't find much problem with the heat at all.
Oh,
Yes, it's common.
okay, good. Well,
It's common.
That's
But we don't have aircon in where I am. So
No.
we have one fan that my husband's using, and I'm because I come from the desert, I can deal with it.
okay, yeah.
Makes me blush a little.
My sister who lives in Atlanta, which is hot, Atlanta, Georgia, America, was visiting in the West Coast under a heat dome last year, and it was unbearable for her. The heat dome just stifled life.
Wow.
And there was a lot of unfortunate deaths from the heat domes. Of course that happens everywhere now. Europe, India, Australia.
Madam Timer, are we at our 5-minute limit yet?
Yes, and with that, I would like to invite the group back, and please let's start our second part of the meeting. Welcome back to our Toastmaster of the day, Brahm.
Bud Brown, yes, okay.
Brahm.
Brahm, that's sort of a merging. I can't imagine what that would look like, Brahm and me.
Yeah, that is the day of name mix-ups, I guess.
And then, I'm
That's my
Tony as
payback.
well.
That's my payback for telling people to send Brahm's evaluation to Tony. Okay.
I like
Welcome back, fellow Toastmasters. Now we come to the part of the meeting. I've heard various parts of the meeting. I always describe my favorite part of the meeting as evaluations. Other people love the prepared speeches part, and still others love to get into impromptu speaking. And so to introduce this portion of our meeting and to tell us a little bit about her role, can you help me in welcoming Nikita Winkler?
Thank you, Bud. I have my Pathways project to do some listening in today's table topics. And I have decided that why not involve everyone to practice their listening skills? So I have a very special, very different way of doing our table topics today. I have one volunteer and I need 4 more. So before I share what I've planned for today, I would like to have 4 more volunteers, please. If you haven't sent me a chat, just raise your hand. And the clock is ticking down to, there we go, 2 more. Any of our guests? I'm encouraging the guests to show up, although I do have 5. I would like just one more guest to show up. This is an exciting part. You're going to just use your imagination. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. No pressure, just encouragement. Great. Awesome. Okay, so I have my volunteers and I will post in the chat your guide for today's table topics. I will also run you through it verbally. So today we're all going to listen very attentively as a story unfolds. What story? The story that all the volunteers are going to create today. We are going to create one story, which means it continues. So therefore, we have to pay attention to what the previous speaker is saying so that we can continue the story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. When I call the volunteer, I will give the volunteer a key word. That keyword will guide the story, as well as you continuing it from what you have heard the previous speaker say. So just to be clear, there will be the speaker. You will get the keyword. The first one will get a key phrase. And from then, just key words. And these words will guide you to continue the story. Great? Thumbs up? Yebo, yes. Yebo, yes in Southern Africa. All right, so our first volunteer was Wayne Khan, if I pronounced that correct. If I didn't, please excuse me. So we can just have Wayne on the screen. And just as a reminder, you have 1 to 2 minutes. You will see the timer. Oh, no, Wayne, not Wesley.
Sounds the same, right?
Listening, that's what we're practicing right now, Wayne. Okay, so Wayne, you are the opening to our story. And the story to our theme today starts. One hot summer night. Take it away.
Thank you, Madam Chair and fellow Toastmasters. It's interesting that you would talk about one hot summer night, because I sit here at the cottage with my sweater on, and it went down to about 9 degrees last night. And I actually sometimes wear a toque over my head because, as you can see, I have very little hair to keep me warm. Tony would allude to that, right, Tony? You have a little toque at night that you put on. So it wasn't a hot summer night, but a few days ago, we did have a very hot summer afternoon. And it's so hot that we would stay in the air conditioning all day. And when we go outside, we'd have to take as many clothes off as we could so that we don't sweat. And it's interesting because this time of weather, we want to shower every day and sometimes twice a day on those hot summer days. So, Madam Chair, keep cool and I will keep warm.
Thank you. I will do a summary at the end. Our next speaker to continue, remember we are developing a story. So if you paid attention to Wayne, please continue the story. Next, we have Françoise. And your keyword is global.
On a hot summer evening, Toastmaster Wayne experienced winter. And then a few days before that, he experienced hot summer day for a few days. Is this a global impact that is happening with our climate change? Right now, we're all passionate about saving Mother Nature. And we desire to do as much as possible. Burning AC, I don't know if that contributes to the atmosphere, but I think that having the mobile, it's sort of like a fan that you turn it on and it blows, and you can have your simple ice. And it blows out that nice cool atmosphere in the hotness. And you can use that water to water your plants. And we know what our plants do gives off what? Oxygen. I am passionate about saving our nature, saving our globe. What we do and what we don't do contribute to the bigger picture. So enjoy the hot summer nights, but with wisdom. Thank you.
Wonderful. Our next speaker is Luz. And your keyword is leaders.
As a leaders, it doesn't matter if it's hot or it's cold, you show up. On a hot summer night, Wayne experienced heat and cold, but even though he was cold in his head, he showed up. Then Francois was in a place where she prefers to use fans or nature because trees provide oxygen, and what better than a tree to give you what you need. Everything contributes to global warming, just like Francois said, right? Everything that we do. Whenever you take a shower, if it's too hot, you can take a cold shower. That's the solution right there. And also, thinking about the environment and our natural resources, we can also use very little water, right? With 5-minute shower, it is enough to clean your body. And I know because I live in Mexico, we used to do it with a bucket of water. I would prefer not to use fans or air conditioning because yes, you're using energy to cool off yourself, right? So there's just so many ways. You can also use shorts, and the clothing had a lot to do with how you feel, the fabric. It could be an absorbent fabric, cotton preference that you can use because that provides you with freshness that you need. Also, I don't see I see the timer. Thank you so much.
Are you giving it back to me?
Yes, back to you, Madame Topic Toastmasters.
Wonderful. Thank you, Luke. All right, we've got 2 more to go. I hope I'm going to pronounce this right. Mrinal, you're next, and your keyword is impact.
We all know it's global warming is happening across the globe. And that's why we know there are changes in the climate across the globe. So Speaker 1 already mentioned about the experience having hot summer evening. So I'm living in India. In India, you can find the weather, one place in minus 23 degree temperature, and another place is plus 47 degrees centigrade temperature in the same temperature time. This all are because it's a diversified country. So it's all about, we all know that global warming is everywhere. So as a leaders, everybody should joining in a one place, try to connect with the people, try to enroll. That's right now one importance, also save the soil also for the resource of the proper water. So that's as a role of leaders we need to follow, and we create a beautiful world, to beautiful nature around us. So that's impact we need to create as a global leaders. And I know I just small request to all of us, whatever possible way we can support to the nature, support to the beautiful world that is in our own hand, that we can do that. In a small work we can do from our side, then we can create a beautiful world across the globe. Then definitely we can reduce the global warming. So these are now is one of the major concerns across the globe. What do you think? What you can do? Table topic master, Toastmaster Nikita.
Thank you. I had 2 more volunteers who have both spoken today. They are Tony and Wesley, but we are running out of time because we started a little late on the table topics. I therefore will sum it up. A hot summer night reminds us of the global crisis, global warming, that we are all responsible for. Like what Francois said, what we do and what we don't do, it has an impact. We asked, does AC contribute? And Luz said, yes, you're using energy. Our speakers today prefer to do it the natural way, whether it's dipping yourself in a bucket of water, splashing it over, using as less water, using cold water, because it's a hot summer night. And there are places where even if it's winter, summers are longer. Days are getting hotter. What do we have to do as leaders? We have to join, we have to connect, we have to save and create a beautiful world. Because it's not about us, and this is what I'm adding to end the story. It's about our future generations. So thank you to all of those who have contributed to today's table topics. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for volunteering. And thank you for being conscious. And you can now vote for the best table topic speaker.
Thank you, Topics Master Nikita. And yes, I'll ask everybody to go ahead and vote, and we'll come up with the answers to that. Very quickly, I know I neglected this when we came back to the meeting, but could I ask our Sergeant at Arms if you could give us the results of the best speaker vote that we did earlier?
Yes, the best speaker was Hannah.
Hannah gets the best speaker. All right. Well done. And now I will ask our timer if she could give us the times for the table topic speeches.
Yes, my pleasure. For table topics, Wayne Kuhn, 1 minute, 17 seconds. Francois Bowen, 1 minute 56 seconds. Luz Sanchez, 2 minutes 15 seconds. And Mirnal Ghosh, 1 minute 50 seconds. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. All within contest parameters too. Very nice. Okay. At this point, we come to what I've described. Oh, wait, before I go ahead, take a look at the results for the table topics best speaker, the vote. And it looks like it was pretty evenly spread amongst our 4 speakers, but a clear winner, Mrinal Ghosh, with 35% of the vote. Congratulations, Mrinal. I was going to ask you which of those 2 climate extremes in India you are experiencing, either the -25 or the +47.
So I almost visited every part of the India. So my job, actually, I already travel across 1,000 kilometers in every week. So that's my job, responsible. So
You
one
feel
part,
amazing. Okay, we now come to my favorite part of the meeting, and that's the evaluations, the feedback part. And for that portion of the meeting, I'm going to introduce our general evaluator for today, Dinesh Sharma. Take it away, Dinesh.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guest. This part of the meeting is the evaluation. As we all know, evaluations are key because they give us the constructive feedback, and constructive feedback is very important for our overall growth. To do that, the first evaluator that we're going to invite is Bud Brown. Bud is going to evaluate leadership speech by Brahm Memone. So, Bud, over to you.
Thank you, Dinesh. Brahm, I'm going to be succinct because we are running behind time. The form of your speech I thought was marvelous. You had a clear opening, definitely well-constructed body, and your conclusion wrapped up the speech nicely. It summed it up. I loved the content. I loved what was in your speech. You started off with a description of the meeting. You were brief. You were to the point. You described your use of social media and the creation of the website. You gave a little history. One improvement I would suggest to that area is the use of the expression, as most of you know. Being that this is an international club where we have lots of guests who may not have been around for previous announcements of this, most of us might not know. So don't exclude people. The rest of my talk is about your use of vocal variety. And you have some great variation in your vocal variety. You include timbre, you have pauses. I'd like to hear more changes in pace, the speed at which you say things or slow them down, and a little bit of volume to show us how passionate you are about this particular topic. You made good use of that screen text behind you. It showed up well. And I think my favorite part of it is your delivery is paced and even and gives us a clear presentation of what it is you're trying to get across. Thank you for that speech. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bud, for that wonderful evaluations. Moving on, we are now going to invite Jubileus George to evaluate Luz Sanchez's speech. Jubileus George, over to you.
Luz, you talk about a topic that I am very passionate about. Thank you for sharing your story with us. One of the options of this speech was to appeal to emotions, and I believe you excel at that. This is a message that only people that has gone through massive transformation will fully understand. And I like that you were speaking from your heart and that you kept eye contact most of the time. You asked me to focus on your vocal variety, and I observed that your tone and pace was clear and steady. You might want to be more passionate about your story. When you share your struggles, you might want to emphasize it. For example, I was betrayed. I had to work hard to get it. Making those small pauses and rises in your voice will provide impact to your message. I observed that by the end of your speech, your gestures became more strong, and I perceived that you were more confident on your execution. My challenge to you for the next speech is to start with a question, with a quote, or even with a joke, and to end with a clear call to action or a challenge, or maybe an advice for the audience to implement. You have a powerful message to share. Healing is an area that not everybody understands. And I will take with me today that if we don't have health, how can we do anything? Because like you, I work too much, and it is important to take good care of yourselves. I invite you to continue working on this topic, which is very exciting. Back to you, Mr. Evaluator.
Thank you, Julius, for that wonderful evaluation. Moving on, we are now going to invite our second evaluator, Francois Bon, to evaluate Wesley's speech. Francois, over to you.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. The purpose of Toastmasters Wesley's project is for members to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. You excel at sharing your story in a good, organized fashion. The focus on rules, following rules, the importance of rules. And I take a quote from you: a rule is broken and a tragedy ensued. Your speech provided the bells and whistles, the disobedience and obedience that can be applied to our life. What you may want to work on. In storytelling, pauses at the right places is important. It helps the listener who is creating the visual in their mind the right way to attach or connect to them personally. In conclusion, wrapping up a story, we want the listener and the viewer to keep seated well on their chair to the end. It was a bit abrupt in the ending. So simple phrases as I conclude, or before I conclude, as I wrap up my life story to you. And these are simple phrases that we can use in ending a story. To whether it's personally, we're speaking to one-on-one with someone, or generally, to challenge yourself. Mixing a little image on the background screen is quite helpful. If you're not or let's say technically, you're not technically fluent, some photos can be shared to the host or Zoom master of the event or meeting beforehand to share with the audience. An example, TED Talk. While speaking, the flow is there along the way. Keep on positively inspiring us through your stories to make our immediate world better. This will become an avalanche into the bigger world as our leadership speaks. Thank you.
Thank you, Francois, for that wonderful evaluation. Moving on, we're going to invite our third evaluator, Ahsan, to evaluate Hannah Schmidt's speech. Ahsan, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, and especially Hannah. Hannah, you were passionate about Global Leadership Summit. I could tell that from the get-go. You shared with us, imagine, connect, create. You asked us a question when you first started. Very important. You spoke very clearly and you had good eye contact, even came close to the screen to make an impact on us. I like when you talked about that the event would be spectacular, stunning, sensational. And you told us that we don't have to wait in line, make hotel reservations, or even fly to the event. I loved all of that. A couple of suggestions that I might have that could make the impact of your speech more powerful. when you first asked us a question, give a little longer pause afterwards to make us think what you're going to tell us about. Also, when you ended your speech, you talked again about imagine, connect, create. If you were to say imagine and then tell a little bit, connect and then tell a little bit about it, create and then tell us a little bit about it. Just by raising your voice a little bit when you talk about those words would have more of a powerful ending to your presentation. But overall, Hannah, I liked how passionate and how excited you were about sharing with us about the Global Impact Leadership Summit. Well done speech, very well organized, and I can't wait to hear you speak again, Hannah. Thank you.
Thank you, Anza, for a very, very wonderful evaluation. Moving on, the last evaluation for the day is from Mary Lou. Mary is going to evaluate Tony's speech. So Mary, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and Tony. I would like to recognize the value developed by, I like that you recognize the value developed by Hannah's speech. And also that it was the potential of duplicating your own. You had the OMG moment of going, what am I going to do? Where the previous speaker had almost identically delivered the message that you had. You managed to modify your message to augment the information provided by Hannah and provided your why. You gave some background on why Leadership Speak is growing as a group. We are members from 15 countries with different ideas, and we work together. I will always remember Tony backwards being the poster guy for why not. Truly, why not is just another way of saying imagine. If you never try, you never know. Area of improvement, I would say, is as you had the potential of being a duplicate speaking content, I would have made sure to have additional information that you could use. My challenge to you is actually use the power of your name to really have a unique message that you're delivering on behalf of this Global Leadership Summit. And the message is imagine. Fear is our greatest inhibitor. Fear, false evidence appearing real. Tony, the only way to put fear at rest is to imagine and say, why not? Use Tony. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Now we are going to request our timer, Jerry, to give us the timings of each evaluator, please. Jerry?
Okay, thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. So for Bud Brown, it was 1 minute, 38 seconds. Julian George, 1 minute, 42 seconds. Francois Bowen, 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Anja Gangur, 2 minutes, 14 seconds. And Mary Lou was 2 minutes, 12 seconds. And that's my report.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you so much. So all the evaluators were within the time. May I request the Sergeant at Arms to put the poll for the best evaluator, please? Sergeant at Arms?
Well, she's putting that to, oh, here we go.
Yeah, okay. while we wait for the results to get compiled, may I request our grammarian, Brent, to give the grammarian report, please. Brent, over to you.
Thanks, Dinesh. We managed to use the word of the day 11 times throughout the meeting. We had 3 people who used it twice. Francoise used it twice. Yuvelis and Anya all managed to incorporate it a couple of times during the delivery of their segments of the meeting. Filler words today, we had a total of 32. Notably, however, we only had 2 during the table topic session, which usually is where you would see more filler words, but today our table topic speakers did an exceptional job of not using filler words. As far as notable phrases or unique uses of the English language, I wanted to call out Mary Lou for in her toast using the phrase badge of honor, and then during her evaluation, a little bit more of a contemporary one, but that OMG moment, I thought that was appropriately used and unique. Lou's using the phrase marathon of life, a unique and original use of incorporating a phrase well into her speech. And I also wanted to call out Hannah for the use of alliteration when she was describing the potential for the event of being spectacular, stunning, and special. That use of alliteration can really help impact a point that's trying to be made. And on that note, back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Brent, for your grammarian report. And I'm sure we all saw that. The best evaluator went into Mary Lou, although everything was equally distributed, majority of it, but Mary Lou was definitely the clear winner as the best evaluator. So thank you, Mary Lou, and thank you to all the evaluators. Moving on, my evaluations of the meeting is I joined late. I had a personal commitment to take care of it, so I joined late. So I won't comment on the beginning of the meeting. But one of the things that I would say that considering that we had 4 speakers and 1 global leadership speak, so technically we had 5 speeches in a meeting, which is really unheard of in a meeting. And we are still well ahead in the meeting. So thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to the Toastmasters for keeping the things on the track. But more importantly, I would say thank you to our Sergeant and Mariana, because when I looked at the meeting agenda this morning, when I printed it out, and I said, wow, all the roles are filled up and everybody is on time. So this is what Brahm keeps talking about is self-directed leadership. And one of the things I'm going to mention this here on a personal point of view, the other day, I was asking my son that, hey, buddy, my son is a teenager. I was asking, buddy, what's your plan for the summer is? And he says, Dad, I'm becoming a self-directed person. So I have already laid out the plan for my summer. This is what I said, buddy, good. You're not attending leadership meeting and you're telling me I'm a self-directed individual, so you don't have to guide me and ask me for what my plan for the summers are. So Brahm, to you and to all the leaders of this club, I think making an impact on the next generation in an indirect way. I think my son listens to me or sees me talking about being self-directed. And I'm going to say this to our Toastmasters also, that he has kept things on time. We are at 11:16. And the last but not the least, Nikita, the way you conducted the table topics this time in a story format was definitely inspiring, definitely thinking it out of the way, rather than picking people up, giving them a word or a title or a line. You build it up in a story. So that's a unique thing or a different thing. We all learn from each other. I won't take too much of a time because we know we have a lot of guests here and we want to hear their feedback about the meeting. But all in all, good meeting. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful club. And for all Tony, Hannah, and everybody else promoting this Leadership Speak Summit, Global Impact Summit coming in. It is going to be a good impact. I am very passionate. I am going to be promoting it extensively onto it too. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dinesh. Okay, as Dinesh mentioned, we have a few guests here today, and normally I would have started off the meeting asking them to introduce themselves. I could say I looked at the length of the meeting and planned accordingly, but the truth is I missed that. So my bad. But I do want to call on our guests now to ask them for any observations that they may have and anything they may wish to share about our meeting. And I'm going to start off, I'm going to do it alphabetically by first name. So Mrinal Ghosh, could I ask you for any comments or observations you have?
Yeah, I think what an amazing meeting. 5 great speakers, 5 evaluation, and completed within a stipulated timeline. That's amazing. So that's actually I love about this club. Amazing member, amazing. And whenever I attend in the meeting, I try to learn certain new things from your club. So it's a great experience for me.
Thank you, Minesh. And you're always welcome to join us as a guest, but we'd love to have you as a member as well.
Sure.
Next, I'm going to ask Peter Wang to give us his feedback. Peter, are you there?
He's trying his microphone.
You are muted, Peter.
Hi, HW. Okay, I'm Peter. Thank you for having me today, this morning, Saturday morning here in California. When you start at 9:30 in the morning in the Eastern time, it is actually only 6:30 in the Pacific California time. California time, 6:30 is too early for me. And normally I do not go to bed 2 o'clock in the morning because of Friday night. It was last night, Friday night. Especially I live in Southern California, Santa Ana, where it is the birthplace of the Toastmaster. That our founder, Dr. Schmidt, started Toastmaster here in 1924. I'll tell you a little bit about my city. It is a beautiful city, which was already been very prosperous during the late 19th centuries and all the early 20th centuries. We Toastmasters started in 1924. You know, Dr. Schmidt built the YMCA building, and the YMCA building is still here. Okay, and it's a beautiful city, and I lived pretty much downtown Santa Ana in the art village. Every week on Friday night, there's an art festival. Yes, every Friday night. So art gallery open late, and also many of the art vendors came to the street. Restaurants, nightclub opened until 2 a.m. in the morning, sometimes 5 a.m. So I have to admit that I have a little bit hangover last night. Do I still look awake? I hope so. I'm so happy to be with you this morning. I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Well, that would make a great icebreaker speech. You should, if you joined up with us, you could give that one again. I'm also going to call on another Peter Lutzman, to give us any observations he has about our meeting.
I'm very impressed by this club, of course, and the professionalism of the club, both in terms of the content of the presentations. I thought those were great. And I thought about the process of the presentations here, or of the club, the way that you ran your meeting. The evaluation especially jumped out at me. You were very welcoming to the presenters, yet you provided constructive criticism. So a lot to be learned from this club. I'm glad you let me in, and I'm glad you honored the passport from the United States. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. And you're welcome back anytime. Next, I'll ask for any observations, comments from Brahm. I don't think Rahm's a member yet, is he? No.
Not as yet, bud.
We'll keep working on it.
Passionate. This is what this club is all about. They show up with that mindset. Leadership, that too. And all these things are integral part of becoming a Toastmaster. And to be effective, and evaluations, and speaking, and getting all that crunched in that time frame is amazing. You have to have a very good Toastmaster, which you do. And you raise the bar each and every week, which is good. Never the dull moment each and every week, but rather something different, something unique, something that you perhaps want to learn from, something you'll take away, and then you'll remember on Friday night when Brahm sends his email reminding us of that meeting, and then once again on Saturday morning, it's time to attend. That is leadership. That is something unique about this club. And we'll develop, see what happens. Back to you, bud.
Thank you, Rahm. I was just going over my list here and I realized if I was doing it alphabetically, I probably should have started with Christina Mothobi. So Christina, could you turn on your mic and give us any feedback that you would be willing to give us?
Hello all. I'm Christina. I'm actually in Africa, Southern Africa in Botswana. I'm new to Toastmasters. I did my icebreaker speech last week in District 74. This was a great meeting. I've learned a lot from you. Thank you. I'm actually new. So, well, I won't say much. I'm still learning.
Welcome. We welcome your joining us anytime that you get the opportunity.
Thank you.
And last, because of the spelling of his name, can I ask you to welcome and hear from Wayne Kuhn?
Thank you, Bud, and fellow Toastmasters. I'm in Canada. I like to tell people I'm 2 hours north of Toronto because everybody seems to know where Toronto is, but nobody knows where Southampton is. So it's that gives you a perspective. I love to attend these because I steal ideas and take them back to my own club. And the other thing I love to do is meet people from all over the world. We are so diverse in different cultures and the way we do things. And we talk about the hot and cold weather, and it's just a great atmosphere, a great way of meeting new people. And one thing I am going to pursue is both Brahm and Brent are using backgrounds that intrigue me. Brahm, I think you incorporated PowerPoint into your presentation in such a way that it became a part of you. And I'm technically challenged to do that. And I want to learn that. Same with Brent. You have a screen that's sitting behind you, and I have no idea how you put yourself into that position. So I will learn that over the years too. So thank you, everyone. It was great meeting this morning.
Thank you, Wayne. And it has been pointed out to me that someone I thought was a member of our club is not yet. Can I also hear from Anya Ganjor?
Thank you, Bud. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the meeting. Again, like everybody else said, it was very well run and very well organized, and amazing how you get 4 speeches and evaluations and table topics in a short meeting like that, or in a 2-hour meeting. No, 1.5 hours, no, 2 hours. Okay, very, very well done. I really loved the table topics today. That was very well done, Nikita. I love storytelling, and the way you put words out and made the speakers include them in their speech. That was really, really well done. I really appreciate that. You gave me a good idea for my clubs. And also I would like to point out that at Resilient Entrepreneurs Toastmaster on Thursday, we have a presenter by the name of Sue Hopcraft, and she's going to do conflict resolutions. That's at 8 a.m. Thursday, June the 23rd, Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. I'll put the link in the chat for you. If somebody wants to attend, please register ahead of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Anya. And I'll just throw this out there in case I have missed somebody. Is anybody left that is a guest that I haven't asked for feedback from?
Mr. Toastmaster, if I may acknowledge somebody here in the meeting.
Yes, by all means, Brahm.
Thank you. I would like to acknowledge Peter Wang here, a good friend, and he's from Smedley's Chapter 1 Advanced Toastmasters Club. I'm a member there as well in California. Friday nights, I attend at 10 o'clock, 10 to 12. He is really championing the Global Leadership Impact Summit. He's promoted it to a lot of people already, and he's going gung-ho. So thank you for your support, Peter. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Thank you, Brahm. Okay, we have 2 minutes left until our meeting officially ends. I'm just going to wrap up with this comment. I started off the meeting talking about how leaders don't get deterred from doing what they need to do by things like how hot it is outside. But today I've heard from leaders from around the world who have temperatures that I don't even think I could endure. And yet they're still here, they're still doing Toastmasters, and they're still taking part in a lot of ways. I applaud you all. I applaud leaders around the world who don't let some minor thing like being incredibly uncomfortable stop them from doing what they need to do. And with that, I'm going to call to a conclusion today's meeting of Leadership Speak Toastmasters. I've even got a little